You ever find yourself being superstitious for like no reason at all? Like you're walking down the street next to some stranger, suddenly you decide if you beat them to the corner, you'll be a millionaire. Oh. Whenever I do get a steak, I always get a salad thinking that'll balance it out. You know, 20 pounds of meat, 2 leaves of lettuce. Cover it. I do love salads. Well, I should say I love salad dressing with just a touch of lettuce. Otherwise, you feel like you're eating a bag of yard work. It is amazing how much cheese you have to put on a salad to make it appealing. Yeah, can I have some more cheese? And can you throw in a Snickers bar? Instead of lettuce, can I get French fries? When you go out to dinner, they always try and improve the salad. They're like, would you like some fresh pepper on your salad? Can anyone tell the difference between fresh and stale pepper? Hey, wait a minute! This isn't fresh pepper. I grew up on a pepper farm. Some stale-ass pepper. I can't even taste the pepper. They must be like, would you like us to wave this wooden wand over your salad? All right. La, 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 la. Enjoy your magic salad. And now it's getting a magic salad. Probably the healthiest thing I do is I take vitamins. And I put them in a drawer. Eventually, I do take them and throw them out. Yeah. When I was a kid, I took Flintstones vitamins because I watched the TV show The Flintstones. I'd probably take vitamins now if they had, I don't know, Law and Order vitamins. Oh, I got one of those hot assistant DAs. Here's a Sam Waterston. It's always bitter, but filled with righteous indignation. Dun, dun. I think it's strange that there are stores that just sell vitamins, you know, like GNC and Vitamin Shoppe. You know what I mean? What is with the Old English spelling? Is this where Robin Hood got his ginkgo? Worst British accent ever. Vitamins, you know, they may be expensive, but at least there's no proof they work. There's vitamins, and then there's herbal supplements, which are not FDA approved. And to put that in perspective, the Twinkie is. I don't even know who herbal supplements are for. You know, it's like, hey, if you're not wasting enough money on vitamins that don't work, you should check out this stuff that's kind of the horoscope of vitamins. My zodiac sign is Cancer. What a ripoff. I remember when I was 8 and I was finding out my sign, my brother was like, what am I? What am I? And my sister was like, you're a Capricorn. And I was like, oh, nee, what am I? What am I? Cancer. Oh, no. I killed Grandma. What's my symbol? Crabs. Oh, no. It all gets sewn together so pretty. It is a pretty thing sewn together. I would do anything for my wife, but I'm not a romantic person. I wish I was. There are moments when it's glaringly obvious. I get to travel so much doing stand-up. I did a show in Cologne, Germany, and before the show, I was walking over this bridge that went across the Rhine River, and as I walked across, I noticed there were hundreds of locks on this bridge, and each of the locks had 2 initials. And it was apparent that couples had put their lock there as a symbol of their relationship. And I looked at it and I thought, that's perfect. Nothing captures love like a rusty padlock dangling over filthy water. But it was visually spectacular, and it affected me. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this. I found myself spending the next hour just kind of looking for a hardware store in this town I had never been in. I spent an hour looking, and eventually I found a hardware store. I went in, and I bought a bolt cutter. And I went back, and I started snipping off the locks. And with each snip, I said, it's over. Over. You're free. And people were giving me dirty looks. Now, what a grand romantic gesture, right? But you know the first guy who did that was a psycho. Like, his partner or girlfriend was not a willing participant. He was like, you're probably wondering, I Well, I brought you to the middle of the bridge. In March, I'm gonna do something you'll never ever forget. She's like, oh my gosh, are you gonna jump? No, I wanna put this lock here. I'll put it here as a symbol of our love. And soon others will do it. And the bridge will be covered with locks. But you'll know that the first lock was a symbol of our love. And the woman was like, is that my bike lock? Not anymore. In Madrid, I saw the statue of the devil. You know, there's a statue of the devil in Madrid. The fallen angel, which that's the devil. I don't know how that would even come up. It's like, who else should we do a statue of? How about the devil? Who invited that guy? No, there's a statue of the devil. In America, we're taking down statues of the Confederacy. And Spain, a Catholic country, there's a statue of the Antichrist. Like, how do you even justify that? Well, you know, the devil, you know, it wasn't all bad. You know, devil did some good things. You know, he went down in Georgia. He did that. And he you know, he was an advocate. He was the devil's advocate. And don't forget about those deviled eggs. Those are tasty. I went and I saw it, and the statue of the devil is 666 meters above sea level. I'm sure that's a coincidence. Hello, we're all gonna die. Like, wow, why? Why? It's like, how tall should we make the devil statue? 666. Well, if you feel that strongly about it, should we go with a fountain of blood? Just kidding. Yeah, I was gonna say we can do a fountain. I don't know where we get the blood. I'll provide the blood. The blood of virgins. Sorry, I don't know what possessed me. But of course, nothing is quite as fascinating as the caganer, right? The caganer. If you don't know, the caganer is a little figurine of a guy squatting and doing his business. And when I say business, I mean the most disgusting idea of business. And behind him is a pile of his business. And the first time I was in Barcelona, I saw like these little figurines in stores, and I was like, ha ha ha, that's disgusting. And then I learned later on, those little figurines are part of the nativity scene. What? So in the nativity scene, there is Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus and the three kings and a guy doing an outdoor dump. And eventually, I saw, someone just sent me a photo of seeing the image of the caganer next to the, and I swear one of the kings was holding his gift and looking at the caganer like, that's his gift, you know? Cagatillo, I don't understand that. Cagatillo, it's just like, it's almost like Catalonia was like, what else can we do? What? We got the caganer, but how about something weird for the kids? Cagatillo, this is gonna sound made up. It all sounds made up. It's like, all right, you know, a log, sticking with the theme, a log that in December kids feed. Okay. They take care of the log during December. They feed it. You know how you can feed a log. And they feed this log, and then on Christmas Day, in the spirit of Jesus' birth, this log that they've taken care of, they beat it. They beat the log and sing a song hoping that the log, I'm not making it up. Like, there's Americans here going, this is not true. And the Catalonians are like, yeah, it's pretty close. They beat the log singing that they want the log to poop out gifts. It's like, you guys don't even need drugs here. You know what I mean? It's like drugs? We don't need them. We don't need them. Have you seen our holiday traditions? And I love in that song, poop out some gifts, but not sardines. Like, at what point are they writing a song? Don't forget the sardine part. Nobody wants sardines. Nobody wants sardines. You're talking about a log pooping out gifts. Yeah, but sardines are gross. It's the sardines, those are gross, right? Fascinating. Of course, a Catholic country here, in Valencia, I saw the Holy Grail. Well, maybe, right? It's possibly the cup that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper, but probably not. And there are supposedly there's 2 other cups that are possibly cups that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper, but probably not. In fact, I have a cup at home that Jesus possibly drank from, but probably not. It's a sippy cup, so it was probably baby Jesus. This guy's a jerk. He's just rude.
She can get me to do anything. Last August, she said to me, she goes, I think I'd like to go blueberry picking. Maybe we should go blueberry picking. I remember thinking to myself, no. You can't even get migrant workers to do that stuff. But the weird thing is, not even 10 seconds later, there I was, picking blueberries. Oh, what am I doing here? And picking blueberries, it's not like picking pumpkins. It's not like, hey, I got one. Let's get the hell out of here. Because with blueberries, you're never done. Because even after 3 hours, you're like, I got 8. We can make a muffin. Gotta be a machine to do this. We're all a little weird, but we like to think there's someone weirder. I'm sure some of you are looking at me going, well, at least I'm not as weird as Gaffigan. And then I'm thinking, well, at least I'm not as weird as those people in the loony bin. And the people in the loony bin are going, well, at least I'm an orange. Hey, I like oranges. I think the most disappointing cake has to be fruit cake, You think that would be better. It doesn't add up. Fruit, good. Cake, great. Fruit cake, nasty crap. Have you tried fruit cake? I don't even think that's fruit in there. You're like, what is that, a Skittle? So what is a seed here? What is this, a treasure map? What is the recipe of fruit cake? Anything but fruit? It's like the baker was just clearing off the counter. Put all this crap in there. Nobody eats this stuff. They just mail it to relatives. I think religion's fascinating. Adam and Eve kicked out of paradise for eating an apple. An apple? Would you ever been tempted by an apple? I've been like, cover in caramel and come back to me. Hey, you got any cake back there? I love cake. I just wish I wanted to eat something healthy. Recently I saw an apple, and for a moment, just a moment, I didn't recognize it. I was like, what is that? Oh, that's an apple! It's so weird to not see it in a pie. But fruit, no one really wants fruit. There's too much work with fruit, right? You gotta wash it, you gotta peel off that sticker Al-Qaeda put on there. There's work. Like an orange, has peeling an orange ever really been worth it? There's not even chocolate in this.
some weirdos that use the gathering of fruit as an activity. Why don't we go apple picking? Because I'd rather die. You have to pay to pick apples.
Okay, how much do I owe you to work for you for free? Don't rip me off, I'm no dummy.
Yeah, we still act excited when we see fruit. We're like, yay, fruit! At least it's not vegetables. But we haven't wanted fruit for hundreds of years. That's why there's so many paintings in museums of just bowls of fruit. Because you could start painting a bowl of fruit, you could leave for a couple days, come back, no one would have touched the bowl of fruit. But if you're painting a donut, you better finish it on the first sitting. You can't even take a bathroom break. Hey, what happened to my donut?
Your friend's like, oh, some fat guy came in here. Anyway, I'm gonna get some milk and take a nap.
That's why there's no donut art. It's sad, really. You ever go to a Chinese restaurant? I'm not talking about the fancy Chinese restaurant that is the tea ice cream that tastes like a pack of menthol cigarettes. I'm talking about a regular Chinese restaurant where the dessert options, there's two, right? There's sliced oranges. Ooh. I don't want to overwork the kitchen. Oranges? What, did a schooner just arrive from the Caribbean? Looks like our scurvy's cured, fellas.
It was crazy. You know, the surgeon told me the tumor was the size of a pear, which is scary, but also confusing. I was like, did he go to med school or a farmer's market? But tumors are often compared to fruit. A pear, a lemon, a grapefruit. Interesting fact, worst tumor, grapefruit. Worst fruit, grapefruit. When you think about it, a grapefruit looks more like a tumor than a fruit. I almost feel sorry for grapefruit.
Yeah, we can't win. Yeah? We're already the worst fruit. Now we're compared to the worst tumor? Well, at least we help old people poop.
That is the worst impression of a grapefruit ever. It's kind of unfortunate that there's another fruit that's much smaller named grape. Because you know there's situations in doctor's offices, we found a tumor, it's the size of a grape. Thank God I didn't finish. Grapefruit. Oh, that's very different. It was strange. You know, when the doctor told me the tumor was the size of a pear, I thought, wow, I guess doctors are bad at analogies. But I quickly realized they're just dumbing it down for idiots like me. Like the surgeon looked at me and thought, well, this guy's not gonna understand centimeters. I don't even wanna try and explain circumference. Based on appearance, he doesn't eat fruit, but he's probably seen a pear when he's at the grocery store buying ice cream. I don't know why the surgeon sounds like Andy Rooney. Ever notice tumors look like fruit? By the way, if you don't know who Andy Rooney is, you're a child. And if you do know who Andy Rooney is, you should probably eat more grapefruit. Tumors compared to fruit, sometimes they're compared to balls, like a golf ball or a softball. But the surgeon looked at me and thought, I'm gonna stick with food. I got a better shot of this fat ass understanding.